During a discussion over President Joe Biden, Morning Joe hosts Joe Scarborough and Mika Brzezinski talked about no, he's not old. He's not too old. What are you guys talking about? Joe Biden is doing real well. He's real strong. Mika Brzezinski goes on and on about his crazy busy schedule and how he's able to handle it like a real man. I mean, us normal people wouldn't be able to handle that incredibly difficult and busy schedule. But what I particularly found interesting was Joe Scarborough's conversation on the aptly named podcast Hacks on Tap, where he discusses the president hitting him up late at night for late night debates. Let's watch.
I know that Joe Biden is still cogent because I've said a few things about him on my show, and I've read a couple of op-eds, and he'll wake me up when I'm asleep at 8:30 at night, because Meek and I, of course, wake up at 4:30 in the morning, and I'll just go, "Hello, yes, sir."
Yeah.
And about an hour later, he will aggressively and very effectively give me point by point about how my op-ed was flawed.
So in an effort to defend Joe Biden and make the case that he is not too old to run for re-election, Joe Scarborough, I don't know if it was accidentally, I don't know if he just doesn't think it's that big of a deal, admits to the American people that the President of the United States calls him at 8:30 at night to talk to him, to discuss policy with him, which, if I recall correctly, Libs had a huge problem with that, no? When it came to, Fox News hosts doing the same with Donald Trump. And if you don't remember, I can remind you of that. Let's watch.
Guess who was on the campaign trail with Trump just a few hours ago? Sean Hannity and Jeanine Pirro of Fox News.
Trump doesn't just rely on Sean Hannity's show for input, but every single night after it goes off the air, the two talk by phone right before bed.
If this had happened under a different administration and it was a different network, what would Republicans be doing? We would be having a fit. It's about the bias in the media and how this is so inappropriate and everyone's in bed with everybody else, and how can we expect any kind of fair coverage? But now we have an entire major news network that has become a state propaganda for this administration. It's completely inappropriate.
How do they consider themselves a news network when they are actively
I feel bad
involved
for the
and
journalists,
engaged
the real reporters.
What they will tell you is that their evening people are opinion.
Right.
Their afternoon people are more Fox News. Most people know, but that's the distinction.
They think that Sean Hannity and all of the people at night are actually telling them the truth and have to abide by the rules of journalism, and they absolutely do not. They're opinion hosts, but the people who are watching that channel have no idea. There should be a bug, if they want to do it, up there that says these are opinions.
Don't you like the idea of them kind of chopping it up at night, like a couple of high school sophomores, and did my hair look good? How'd you like my closing comments tonight? And how do you like what I said about immigrants today? Destiny brought these guys together. Destiny brought them together. It was inevitable that they would be in each other's orbits to the extent that they are now.
Well, because the line, such as ever existed, Eric, between the conservative political structure and the corporate Fox News structure has completely dissolved.
I haven't seen any Republicans make a big deal about Joe Scarborough taking calls from President Biden at 8:30 at night. But I also haven't seen anyone on MSNBC or CNN make a big deal about it either.
Yeah, so look, I have an opinion that might surprise you on this in a second. But first, the obvious stuff. So all that crying they did, oh my God, can you believe it? He signed a Trump. Now Scarborough said, oh yeah, I'm talking policy in the middle of the night with Biden all the time. Not a peep. Have you guys heard a single criticism from anyone in media? We're old enough to remember those clips that were from 2 seconds ago, okay? You all saw them with your own eyes. And you will see going forward, no one will say another word about Joe Scarborough and Biden talking to each other behind the scenes, okay? So I want to point out that hypocrisy, and I'll add one thing to that hypocrisy. Remember when everybody also lost it about Chris Cuomo talking to his brother? They're like, oh, this is outrageous, you can't do that, I can't believe that they were talking behind the scenes. Now Scarborough does it with Biden, they're like, oh, bravo, no problem at all. Because as long as you're on the right team, everything's good. And by the way, they didn't mind talking to Chris Cuomo, talking to Andrew Cuomo when Andrew Cuomo was popular. But when Andrew Cuomo was caught, then all of a sudden it became a problem, right? And so, because before Andrew Cuomo was part of the establishment. And if you're part of the establishment, regular rules don't apply to you.
Okay. Listen, if Joe Scarborough made that statement on MSNBC where they're constantly providing cover for Biden and his flaws and all of that, then I'd have no problem with it. But I would venture to say that their audience is under the impression that they are doing fair analysis and fair reporting.
I know, that's the problem.
And that's the problem for me.
Yeah, so that's gonna get to my potential surprise. I don't, if you watch Young Turks enough, you know you wouldn't be surprised. But I actually don't think there's anything wrong with Joe Scarborough and Joe Biden talking off air. I don't think there's anything wrong with Hannity and Trump. And come on, you tell me Chris Cuomo wasn't gonna talk to his brother? Who are we kidding, right? So I'm not here to defend Cuomo or Hannity or Scarborough. 2 out of 3 of those guys I don't like at all, okay? But I don't think it's that big a deal as long as you are honest about it, okay? So if, like, let's say that Marianne Williamson wins and she's the president, she calls me up, hey Cenk, what do you think about this? What, am I gonna hang up on her? No, I'm gonna talk to her and I'm gonna give her my real opinion. But I'm not gonna hide it and I'm not gonna pretend that I don't have an opinion or a perspective. We're very clear about our perspective. So what drives me crazy about the CNNs of the world is they pretend to be outraged by others. Meanwhile, they slipped questions to Hillary Clinton, the questions they were gonna ask in a debate on CNN to Hillary Clinton in a debate against Bernie Sanders, right? And then they're like, can you believe how biased Fox News is being? But what they never admit to is their own corporate agenda.
And you meant News Nation, by the way, not, I think you said Newsmax.
Oh,
when you
well, when I promoted the Dan Abrams show earlier. Oh, I'm gonna be on tonight. We're gonna talk about Jamal Bowman yelling at Marjorie Taylor Greene. I'm so sorry to News Nation. Yes, this will be at News Nation when and I'll be talking to Dan Abrams. And guys, I'm on Chris Cuomo's show all the time. It's not about that. I have a very well documented track record of being 100% against Andrew Cuomo, and not because of the latest scandals that just added on top of it, but Andrew Cuomo has been one of the most corrupt, conservative, corporatist Democrats of my lifetime. So I got no love for any of those guys in that regard, okay? But you have to be honest in your reporting. So I don't mind if they talk behind the scenes as long as they're clear about their perspective. But mainstream media hides their perspective, which is the status quo and corporate rule are awesome, and we're gonna pretend that's the objective position. Thanks for watching the Young Turks, we really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR, so those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.